Okay, no lie, I just did about 75% of this part 2 and I never hit record on my phone. So I guess finish getting ready with me while we talk about how I fell for a narcissist part 2. Okay, so if you didn't catch part 1, make sure you go back and watch that because I talk about some things that happened to me as a kid that made me more susceptible to this. Now, like I said, my life at the time was completely falling apart around me, and there were a couple things that were going through my head. Number 1, I was terrified about making this big change in my life and then ending up being alone. Number 2, since I was newly out of the closet, all that I knew in my head about the gay community was the stigmas. So, things like monogamy is not really a thing, having kids is going to be a turnoff because all they want to do is party. And here's what's funny. It's like, yes, that does exist in the gay community, but it exists in the straight community too. It's no different. But for me, in my mind, it was everyone. And then walks in this guy and he tells me all he wants is monogamy. He wants the house and the kids and the dog and the white picket fence, and he just wants babies to love on even if they're not his. And I thought I hit the damn jackpot. And so what happened is that despite all of the red flags that I saw, because if I'm totally honest with you guys, I saw them all. But what I was doing was I was putting more weight in my fear of being alone. I was putting my value in the things that he was saying to me. I literally remember saying to myself, I know this situation is probably not the best, but at least I'm not alone. And the reason why all of that meant more to me is because I didn't have enough value in myself to respect myself enough to take the time, let the dust settle, get to know this new version of me, and trust that I'm good enough that I won't end up being alone. And you know what? Even if I never had a partner ever again in my life, I'm still enough. I was nowhere near that. And this is why I work so hard on my clients about figuring out the story that you tell yourself about yourself. Because if you don't have a story about yourself that you value and love enough, then the story that other people tell you, good or bad, is always going to have more weight than your own story. I probably had more to say in this part too, but I don't remember. So I'll end it with this. Part of the healing journey after you leave a narcissist is accepting the responsibility that we played in getting ourselves into this. It's very different than casting blame on ourselves. We never deserved the abuse. Let me be very clear about that. But if we have allowed this kind of behavior from multiple people in our life, then that means there's a story we're telling ourselves about ourselves that allows us to accept this kind of behavior from an individual. And in order to be able to set healthy boundaries with people and value yourself enough to not accept this kind of behavior, we have to break that story down and start telling ourselves a different story, and one that makes us value, love, and appreciate ourselves.